Imagine you feel that you're coming down with a flu. You're starting to get a headache. You feel that your body is struggling to produce energy, so you become a bit more sluggish. And overall, obviously, you feel a bit of soreness in your throat, and maybe you cough a few times. What do you think that you could do that is free, extremely helpful, and that your body sorely needs? Sleep. Yep, that's simple. You see, sleep at night is when our body cleanses itself, is when our body cleans up itself and restores and repairs all the tissues that were affected throughout the day. It is incredibly important to make sure that you protect the quality and quantity of your sleep every single day. If you care about having a healthy, productive, active, and happy lifestyle, then that is something you want to really enhance with a great deal of sleep. And what I mean a great deal of sleep, I don't mean like sleep for 20 hours a day. What I mean is attention to how much you sleep and how well you sleep. Just like there's a danger of undersleeping, there's also a danger of oversleeping. And research has shown that people that sleep regularly beyond the 8-hour mark actually can get ill a lot quicker. The point behind this is that you have to find out what really works for you. So here are a couple of things that you want to consider. Do you like to sleep early, or do you stay up late? Whichever one it is, you want to find out what really your body is made for. For instance, if you stand up late and that is regular, why are you doing that? Is it because you're working? Do you find yourself in an alert state at night? Or are you vegetating on your couch, watching TV for hours and hours at a time and not just saying, oh, you know what, I'm not sleepy? Because if you are watching a screen while you're staying up in the evening, you are not going to feel sleepy. The blue light emitted from the screen is likely to tell your brain, it tells your brain it's still day. And guess what? Thousands of years ago, we did not have artificial lighting. So our DNA, our brain is programmed to associate light with an alert state and darkness with a state of rest. And therefore, you want to eliminate or reduce the amount of blue light you get in the evening so that your body can restore gradually to its programming, right? So it's not going to happen overnight, and it will take a bit of time to adjust, which is why in the evening you want to implement a winding down process. So we spoke about blue light. By the way, blue light doesn't come only from the screens. It can come from your lighting system in the house, from your phone, and you might want to consider blue light goggles or glasses. And you want to adjust your screens so that they dim down the blue light at the same rate while with the sun, which is really cool. So I have this application on my Mac. It's called Flux, and I use it every day. And as soon as the sun comes down, my screen starts to lose the blue light. And it takes a bit of time to get used to, but you get there eventually. And it really makes a big difference. And you sense it once you turn that application off and the screen just blasts you with blue light. So that will be one thing. The other thing that you want to consider in the evening is to implement a routine that it tells your body you're winding down. It might be a hot beverage, right, that you enjoy while reading a little bit. You might be doing a bit of stretching and mobility, maybe a bit of Tai Chi, or just having a lovely conversation with your loved one. Just no screens, no distraction, just a genuine conversation. And these kind of small little habits that you bring into your lifestyle in the evening, slowly but surely begin to get your body used to these cues and begin to feel sleepy, begin to implement this healthy way of starting your sleep cycle. So you go to bed. Where? Well, the environment matters a great deal. If you keep blue light or light in the room, guess what? Chances are you're not going to rest as well. So if you're going to keep any light on, make sure that it's not blue, okay? Keep it dim, keep it low, because our body has photoreceptors all over, not only in our eyes. I believe a sleep expert mentioned this. If you put a small light right behind the knee of a person while the rest of the room is completely dark, you will notice that their sleep state has changed. It became a bit more shallow. So you want to make sure that you reduce the amount of light in your room. Point number one. Point number two, your phone. If it is close to you, keep it on airplane mode. If you use it as an alarm, keep it further from you, because your phone has antennas and a battery, and it emits electromagnetic waves that might impair your sleep cycle, even your mood throughout the day. So pay attention to that. And not just that, maybe even your Wi-Fi router. Do not keep it in your bedroom, guys. Keep it away from your bedroom, okay? Point number three, temperature. You want to feel slightly cool, but don't freeze. Does that make sense? Pay attention to the covers you use for every period of the year. And as soon as it's more difficult to sleep well at night, you wake up, you fidget, etc., consider whether your body is being too cold or too warm, okay? And adjust that accordingly. I would strongly suggest that you don't wear socks at night, guys, because you want your extremities to sense the temperature in the air and tell you if the environment is too warm or not, or too cold. Okay? So that will be about the environment. Now, how do we wake up? Well, if you plan to say, I'm going to sleep 6 hours, I want you to factor in how much time it will take you to fall asleep. So if you're usually within 10 to 15 minutes, you're asleep, that you want to put an alarm about 6 hours and a half down the road. Why is that? Maybe you will wake up at night. You just don't know, right? So you want to set up your alarm in such a way that you ensure the amount of sleep you need is what you end up getting, at least from a time perspective. Over time, you'll find the body will wake up even before the alarm rings. But after a week of committing to that duration of 6 hours, for instance, and you find yourself getting a bit, tired and worn out and sleepy by the afternoon and what have you, maybe that's an indicator of one of two things, or both. Your sleep timing is off. You might switch it a bit earlier, so you want to go maybe, instead of going to bed at 11 o'clock, maybe you want to go at 10:30 or 10. That's number one. And number two is you would want, or maybe later, it can go both ways. The amount of time you spend resting might need to be adjusted. So instead of putting an alarm after 6 hours, 6 hours and a half, you want to consider maybe 7 hours and a half, and see how that feels. Again, for the next week. Make these slight adjustments, and over time, you will soon begin to feel what works for you. If something, if a routine did not, you felt rested throughout the day and it does not need to be changed, then let's not change it, right? If it works for you, then increase the amount of activity throughout the day, improve your nutrition, and then see if your sleep cycle is affected in any way. Sleep, rest, etc., nutrition, and movement all influence each other. So again, pay attention to how any other change in your lifestyle or your life may impact your ability to sleep well. There are two more things that I want to mention, guys. Number one is that our body becomes less mobile overnight. So when you wake up in the morning, we all see the proverbial cat stretching, right? Well, we should do too. We should mobilize in the morning, right? To make sure we access our range of motion and stretch those tissues, because overnight our body lays collagen between our moving and sliding muscles and structures, so that the body doesn't need to expend a lot of energy. And if we don't move, then overnight, we deposit those collagen fibers, and eventually those two structures get stuck. Once there's no movement, you will begin to maybe even feel a few aches and pains and what have you, and your ability to move well might be restricted. I'm going to go a little bit beyond that and say, I would advise that you mobilize, that you stretch, dynamically stretch in the evening and in the morning for a good 5 to 10 minutes. But try to do both of those. If that's too difficult, take one, do one, and do the one in the morning, so that you start your day with a mobile and able body. And I've got one more tip for you guys. In the evening before going to bed, try to have your last glass of water about an hour before going to bed. So you can go to the bathroom right before you go to sleep, and hopefully you won't have to wake up throughout the night again to go to the bathroom. All right? Last but not least, this is a set of recommendations that is valid for most of us. But if you have a chronic condition that has been diagnosed already, or you're just having trouble sleeping and it's just eating away at you, you want to go and consult a professional. Sleep is an incredibly important aspect of your life. If you do not sleep well, if you deprive yourself, you will be less cognitively and emotionally able to fulfill your goals throughout the day, to live well, to remain in good spirits, and to enjoy a healthy, active lifestyle. So consult a professional, seek assistance, and take the necessary actions. So to recap, adjust your environment so that your body winds down before going to bed. Less blue light around the room and less screen time. Maybe enjoy a hot beverage, a lovely conversation with your loved one, or stretch a bit before you go to bed. Once you go to bed, make sure your environment is ready for you. Telephone, keep it away if it's still operating, or if you can put it on an airplane mode, then you may keep it close by. Make sure the temperature of the room is comfortable but slightly on the cool side, and avoid having any light in the room, or keep the light as low as possible. Before you go to bed, make sure you do go to the bathroom, but have your last glass of water about an hour before doing so. Set your alarm at a good 6 to 7 hours after you went to bed, and see how that feels over a week. Monitor what time you're going to bed and how easy it is to wake up. And then after a week of committing to that particular goal, then I'd make adjustments. Maybe go to bed a bit earlier or later, or increase or decrease the amount of time you spend asleep. This will enable you to gradually find out what really works for you, and then enjoy the benefits of sleep to the fullest. Last but not least, if you do find yourself with challenges breathing or sleeping at night, you want to make sure you consult a professional and you take care of this sooner rather than later, before it becomes a nagging habit and it eats away at your health and happiness. Have an amazing day, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Signing off, this is Marian.